to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into Pater for a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
With the 21st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Kwity Paye, defensive end from the University of Michigan. So, Derek, initial thoughts on this. First off, huge win for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, we've talked about it all offseason, man. This was the most important position on defense. A lot of people argued on the team. And looking at this draft, in the second, third, fourth round, there's a lot of tackle depth. I think there was only 3 tackles that were taken in the first round, so there's a lot of guys still available here on day 2. What were your initial thoughts on getting Kwity Paye there at 21? Colts didn't trade down. They stayed pat at 21. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that watched the live stream was seeing, my reaction because I saw Darrisaw dropping all the way down. I was like, oh, well, I didn't expect that because, like you said, only 3 tackles in the first. I mean, there was a couple people that said, oh, maybe a 4th or a 5th could be in there. But, of how deep this tackle class is, it means that there's about 4 or 5 other guys there that we could get in this next round to make up for that. But, yeah, getting Kwity Paye, a lot of people said could go earlier than 20. It just depends on when somebody valued Kwity Paye to be there. I think, who was it? Who was it that took Jalen Phillips? Was it?
Oh, it was, gosh, I know.
Anyone remember that?
Was it the Chargers?
No, the Chargers, number 18. Miami Dolphins.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins got Jalen Phillips. They valued him a little higher. I mean, go figure, due to the fact that he went to Miami University. Makes sense. He doesn't have to go very far.
Yeah.
Kwity Paye doesn't have to go very far either, so that's good. But, yeah, I mean, a 6'5", 260-pound athlete, I mean, just a guy that, seems to fit the culture of what the Colts want to do here. We talked about it. They said in the next pick series that, talking about guys being coachable, guys being that have to buy into what they're doing here.
Right.
And Kwity Paye seems to be that kind of guy. It was like, if they didn't pick Darrisaw, then obviously they saw more in Paye than what they did in somebody else. So, I mean, again, initial thoughts, I think it was a good pick, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you look at this Colts defensive end group. Looking at it yesterday even, we would say this is a glaring weakness. There's a lot of unproven at this point. Well, now you have Paye, you have brought back Al-Qadim Muhammad, right? You have guys like Ben Banagoon, Kamoko Ture, you have Tyquan Lewis. So you have a lot of guys here that you feel pretty good about. A lot of young guys, I'll add, with a lot of talent. And so I think that certainly should be exciting for the Colts because we've said it, like defensive end, edge rush is the biggest weakness right now, or it was, I guess, prior to the Colts making this pick. And there's still a lot of positions that I think are going to be available. I think I said 3 tackles. There's actually 4 tackles. 3 tackles that we thought were going to be in the first round because Alex Leatherwood was taken a lot earlier than we both initially thought.
Yeah.
But there still are a lot of quality tackles. Dylan Redunce, I know, is a name that we talked about. Liam Eichenberg's another name. And there's Tevin Jenkins. Surprisingly, I know he was a favorite at 21. Yeah. He's still there, going to be there on day 2. So there's a lot of guys that I think are still available, and there's other guys at different positions as well that I think the Colts can go address. So overall, I think this is a really good move for this Colts defense. I mean, we know what the Colts were able to do on the interior of their defensive line, with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, and now you add a guy like Kwity Paye who potentially has superstar written all over him. He's got the physical tools, like you said. He's long. He's big. He seems like he's coachable. He seems like he's a guy that wants to get better. Seems like in initial thoughts here, because looking at our friend Zach Hicks, who kind of talked about maybe a little bit of the scheme in Michigan kind of skewed some of his sack numbers per se. We know stats can be very misleading a lot of times. And so I think that's certainly, from an upside standpoint, I think Kwity Paye does everything you want. He's really good at stopping the run. I think he can continue to get better. He has all the tools to be a really effective pass rusher. I think he can continue to get better at that. So overall, solid player with, I think, really high upside. Probably between him and Jalen Phillips, 2 of the guys who had the most upside in this draft in terms of edge rushers. So Any final thoughts, Derek, on him, on Kwity Paye, on this pick? I know he's been a favorite of a lot of Colts fans, so it's kind of weird. First off, to see the Colts pick in the first round. We haven't seen that in a couple of years.
Seen it.
And then second off, for them to actually pick a guy that they were mocked to a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange because normally Ballard picks a guy we don't expect. But obviously the Colts did a lot of scouting on him, throughout the whole process. They felt like he was the best player on the board, even with Christian Darrisaw, who a lot of people thought was going to go a lot earlier than he did. He ended up going in the end of the first round. But I think that tells you something on how much they value and think Kwity Paye has so much tremendous talent and upside. So
yeah, absolutely. And especially when you look at the athletic ability too. I mean, I saw somebody mention in the chat that, he had a 3-cone drill that was relatively the same as Tyreek Hill's. Now that's saying something when you're about 60 pounds heavier and you're that much bigger. I mean, that's saying something. He is very athletic, very strong. And like we said, the personality of the guy, I mean, he was saying how, when he got drafted, he said, I'm retiring my mom. My mom's not going to have to deal with any of this anymore. And it's like that the high character guys that have a family value to them, that's special to Ballard. It's somebody that knows what he's worth and what he accomplished to get done. And he's doing it for something other than himself. And I love that. And yeah, like you said, if he valued him over Darrisaw, then he saw something in Kwity Paye that made a lot of sense. And you're right. I mean, drafting in the first round is kind of crazy. We haven't seen that a lot in Ballard's tenure. And like you said, I mean, Kwity Paye has been a cult favorite. We've seen it on Twitter so much. Kwity Paye. Would it be great if we got Kwity Paye? Now we have to see the Kwity Paye jokes all the time. He's here for it. He's ready.
I'm here for it.
So, I mean, I'm excited for it. It's time to pay.
Oh, man, already. Here we go. But yeah, that's our initial reaction, guys, to Kwity Paye, Indianapolis Colts first-round pick. Let us know your thoughts. Did you like this pick? Did you not like this pick? Who were some other guys maybe if you didn't like this pick that you prefer that the Colts went and got? But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.